Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Vibes. And I'd love to welcome here John Reider, who is known as the Bubble Man. And from what I read, you brew thousands of gallons of this stuff a day. I didn't even know you brewed bubbles.
Oh my God. Yeah. Who would have thought that, a guy who started making them in his kitchen sink 25 years ago would be brewing 2,000 gallons at a time. Yeah. We brew it just like a microbrewer does. We have stainless steel. We're brewing as we speak right now, Kyle.
And you have a pet line.
Yeah. So yeah. Years ago during pandemic, we'd been in the human bubble business, let's say, we've been in it 25 years. During pandemic, when everybody was trying to figure out what they were going to do with themselves, a friend of mine said, if you came out with a bubble for dogs and cats, everybody's getting dogs now. You may be able to sell a few. So I went to work, and that's when we developed the puppy love and the kitty love line of pet safe bubbles for people.
I was looking online and I saw you have some with catnip in it.
Oh yeah, you were sharing you're a cat lover. Yeah, our kitty love bubble is actually one of our best sellers. It's a tremendous product. We actually put real Mother Nature in kitty love. So we infuse it with real essential oil. So it's like the real deal. It's not a man-made fragrance. That one is real catnip. So the cats really respond well to it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get some of that. Well,
Oh yeah,
before we go any further, tell us a little bit more about you.
sure. So, I grew up small town USA. In fact, I still live in the hometown I grew up with. Always a curious kid. Always was out looking to do something different and new. And I guess always was entrepreneurial. I always was either cutting people's grass or raking leaves or shoveling snow. And then, I think for some reason that was instilled in me early on. So I always had kind of a zest for working, being my own boss, I guess. And I always loved doing stuff that nobody else was doing, Kyle.
And then you got into brewing bubbles.
Yeah, exactly. I went to school to be for aircraft engineering, and my father spent a lot of tuition money on that. So I hope he's looking down, and I look up to heaven and say, hey, Dad, at least it's aerodynamics still. At least I'm still in the business of making things fly.
So do you have a formula that's different than everyone else's?
I think we call it kind of there was a company many years ago called Mr. Bubbles.
Yep.
And it was every kid in America blew Mr. Bubbles, and they were around for, I think, 100 years. They finally went bankrupt in the 2000 something, and our formula replicates through some research and some diving and experimentation. We've come up. They had one of the best bubbles ever created, and we have a bubble that I believe now exceeds what they do. So yeah, it's a proprietary formula. It's kind of like my Colonel Sanders extra crispy recipe. We lock it in the vault. Only certain people are allowed in the room. It's the holy grail, man.
So to market this stuff, when you first got started, how did you kick things off?
You know what? We didn't really. So the pet industry was new to us. We were making bubbles for humans, and we sold bubbles to theme parks and haunted houses and anybody that was using bubbles in a day. So, we just started giving out sample bottles that we created, and we were giving them to family and friends, kind of that old school way of doing it. And we were getting responses. We were bringing them to doggy daycares and just putting it out there to see if we even had something. I knew that pet bubbles existed, but I also knew during my research that they were very poor quality. Most of them were made overseas, and people were a little bit leery about using them for their pets because they didn't have much safety data and stuff on them. So we made sure to come up with a very, very safe bubble that's certified non-toxic. Yeah, we just, we were spitballing at first. We didn't really know how to go after it, but the more people we got in front of, we got great reviews, and then finally landed on some big e-commerce sites, and those folks started buying us, and kind of a Cinderella story, if you will.
Wow. I guess word of mouth and everything, it made you go international.
Well, we do sell our bubbles overseas. Actually, we went to a big trade show last week and met some folks that can help us break into the European markets, which we're very excited about, because they have the folks over the drink have got just as many dogs and cats as we do. So yeah, we're excited about expanding our bubble empire, if you will.
But do you have something new in mind?
So we just came out with, with our original sense, the bubbles were intended to entice play, activity, exercise, right? Just to get the dogs and cats moving, engaged. We just launched at the show last week a new lavender bubble, which is a calming bubble. Nobody else has one out there, and the reality of our pets, dogs and cats alike, being stressed and anxious is a real thing. So we started going after some wellness type bubbles, and they were received with great awe at the show. People were super excited about our lavender bubbles, so we're excited to see where that one goes.
Wow. I, to be able to do something like that for a living, for somebody to say, "Hey, you're playing with bubbles for a living," that's got to be something, right?
I remember Kevin, my right hand man here. He's been with me 20 some odd years, and he was trying to explain to his kids what he did for a living, and he said, "Well, your daddy makes bubbles," and they couldn't really, they go to school and say, "Yeah, what's your dad do for a living?" He's like, "Well, he helps the bubble man make bubbles." So it's kind of funny, but it's also kind of wonderful to be able to do something that you really love, and something that keeps you're able to be a kid at heart every day, which for me is a good thing, man.
Right, right.
Yeah.
When you're getting up there like we are, grandkids, the whole thing, you find something to bring back that child inside of you. It's like for me, I have one of my grandkids who live here with us, and he loves monster trucks and superheroes, and I'm a huge Batman fan, if you can't tell, and and so we got into collecting Batman toys and paraphernalia, all that kind of stuff, and this is something you can do with your grandkids.
You're absolutely right. All of my kids, in one form or another, have worked in the business through the years. They're all married. They're having babies now. But I was chatting with someone the other day, and it's like everyone has a memory or an experience with bubbles. Whether you're 2 years old or 102, you remember playing with bubbles, and you remember kind of the joy that it brought you. And I think that's part of the magic that keeps me getting up every morning. It's as owning your own and running your own business, man, it's not all peaches and cream all the time, but being able to see those smiles and that joy that a product that you make brings to people, I think it gives myself, my wife, and our whole company great satisfaction. It's pretty neat. It's definitely not the norm.
Well, I can imagine how busy you are with all this, but do you plan on maybe expanding and doing something different?
Yeah, someone asked me that too the other day, and I think with what we've fallen into with, we found a very loyal customer following in the pet world. We found that people are wonderful, very welcoming, and when you have a good product, they embrace it. So, for now, I'm looking at some more wellness bubbles. We actually have got a kitty calming bubble that has a synthesized pheromone in it, like the Feel Away product, and but we're going to start incorporating that into the bubbles, and again, our cats, as you well know, can be anxious and stressed, and especially cats that are in shelters and rescues, man, those sometimes those animals are really kind of freaked out. So being able to get some products into that arena really causes me to go back to the drawing board and think and be very specific about what we're doing. So I look to be in this business for many years to come. So whatever size, shape, or flavor it may come in, Kyle, I hope to be able to talk to you in 10 years and say I'm still making bubbles, man.
Well, when it comes to pets, they're here for us. And it doesn't matter. I've seen people that treat their animals awful, and they're still loyal to you. They still want that love from you. But if you're like us and we love our pets and we want to do everything we can for them, I try to find things that stimulate them when they're playing and calm them down when it's time for them to chill out. Like I was ready to kill them this morning, but I could have used some of that calming stuff. If you want to spend a little bit on something like this just to bring some enjoyment to their lives, I think it's worth it.
I think where pets fit in humans' lives has really changed from the get-go. In the early days, you had a dog to protect your property or to protect your livestock or whatever. The evolution, I think, and it really kind of blew up during the pandemic time, is they've taken a kind of a place at the table with us. I mean, they are ultimate love. No matter how scolding you might be or what kind of voice you may use to your dog when you're having a bad day or something like that, man, I tell you what, even if it's just a minute later, that pup's in your lap, looking at you like, hey man, I still love you. And I think mankind and womankind should take a lesson from that, shouldn't we?
Right.
It's amazing how forgiving a pet can be.
We've had a few technical difficulties this morning. You've got a storm going where you're at, and you're having a problem with your Wi-Fi, but I think this has gone pretty good.
Yeah, we have some storms brewing out here. I had a hotspot you, and it turned out it was going to work. So yeah, I was super glad we could make the call, and I appreciate getting in front of you and your listeners, and just spreading the peace and love and letting them know that we have some crazy cool bubbles out there that are super safe for pets.
Now, your assistant, I believe, sent me a promo code for a discount.
Yes, and we'll get those as soon as we sign off here. We'll activate that promo code, and if you go to atomicbubbles.com and at checkout, if you put in the promo code that she sent you, I believe we're giving 10 or 15% off, something like that. So we're sweeten the deal a little bit if they hear us on your show, man.
I appreciate that. I really do. And I appreciate you coming on today.
Oh, well, I certainly have to get you some of our kitty love bubbles because I think I'd be real interested. What are the ages of your cats? Are they young, old, in between?
They're all around 6 to 7 years old.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'd be very interested in some feedback. After we sign off, I'll get your contact info. I'd love to get you some bubbles. And then with our kitty calming bubbles, we should have those ready for some beta testing in the next week. I'd love to get you some of those as well.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Love to do it, man. Show the appreciation of, you putting the bubble man on the airwaves and just getting to tell my story. I super appreciate it. Kind of, we're grassroots here. We don't have deep pockets for advertising. So this is wonderful. I always love talking with people about the product and, what we do.
Oh, awesome, man. Awesome. And it's atomicbubbles.com.
atomicbubbles.com. And yep, if you put that in, or if you Google search puppy love bubbles or kitty love bubbles, you'll find us all over the place.
And you're on Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, if somebody, you can either order through our site with that discount, or if you need them next day, or just need to order them today, go out on Amazon. You can find us. We got tons of great reviews and a really high rating on Amazon, which is hard to do.
I will put those links in the description just to make it easier for folks. And again, John, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, buddy, Kyle, thanks so much for having me. Peace, brother.
And I also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button. For my regulars, you guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. Until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network